No.
Tyranny.
Welcome back to the Thinking Critical Comic Book Podcast. We've got a great comic aficionados for you this Saturday. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Easter weekend and you're going to be spending the holiday with your family. We've got not a lot of big news. We do have an update on the Marvel Penguin Random House deal and some of the details on how that's going to be rolled out. We've got a new symbiote-based Carnage event coming up. What else we've got? We got DC Comics Round Robin. A lot of people thought it was an April Fool's joke. Turns out the joke is on all of us, but you gotta vote if you want to get the pitch that you like to actually made into a comic. We got some other stuff. We got a lot of delays going on. Got a wonderful panel here to discuss all this. Now, first up, we've got returning first time in maybe a couple of months. We got Chris from Comics Exposed. How you doing, Chris?
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to it.
Next up, returning, we've got Gevian Daragan, the man behind Animated Concepts. How you doing, Gevian?
I'm doing well. Glad to be on this distinguished panel with these distinguished gentlemen.
Oh my God.
It's distinguished, all right. Next up, we've got independent writer, award-winning editor, Joe Corallo. How you doing, Joe?
I'm all right, Wes. How are you? How's everybody? Good morning.
Good morning.
You all right? Sounds like Pele is having a wonderful time. Obviously, the retailer on the panel, also the curmudgeon of Critical. How you doing, Pele?
It's got cold again. Fucking weather. It's like 32 degrees outside. It's bullshit. And like anybody with arthritis just knows it sucks. It just sucks. But I'm here, so maybe I'll warm up a little bit.
I'm tired here in the Philippines. It never gets cold.
Yeah, it's true. It just rains upside down
during monsoon season.
Yeah, Jesus.
But it's not the whole year. Last up, we've got the co-host of the Comics Aficionados, Doc. How you doing, buddy?
I am actually wonderful this morning. It's fucking cold again here for no apparent reason. And we got snow yesterday for no apparent reason. And but it's apparently going to be 70 degrees tomorrow. So awesome. Yay, schizophrenic Pennsylvania weather.
Mm-hmm. You live in the Midwest, you got to deal with the consequences, Doc.
Yes, sir. We're not Midwest here yet.
Pretty close.
So, Ohio border.
So we've got a lot of news to talk about. We've got an Extreme Carnage event coming up. This will be the third symbiote-related event in the past 24 months. In October of 2019, we've got Absolute Carnage. Obviously, right now we are in the tail end of King in Black, and I believe in July we will get this Extreme Carnage kickoff alpha issue. I don't know, Joe. You're a comic book writer. Can you go to the well too often, even with something as popular as Venom and these symbiote characters right now?
Yes. Yeah, they are. This is going to be Phillip Kennedy Johnson, I believe, right?
That's correct. So Donny Cates is going to be leaving Venom at issue 200, and Phillip Kennedy Johnson is going to be taking over the reins.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to feed into any conspiracy theories or anything like that, but sometimes it feels like they're trying to make these guys fail. Like they are spreading Phillip Kennedy Johnson way too thin. It's like, oh, you could do Superman and Action Comics and Alien, and how about you do a Carnage event? And what else we got for you? It seems like it's destined to wear him too thin, to get him to trip up a bit, and then it's going to be like, oh, I thought, Phillip Kennedy Johnson was this great writer, but now he's handing in mediocre stuff because he doesn't have time to write anything, and then you see the star fall. Like, I don't know. It's those kind of things make me think like, I don't know.
I don't know. I've kind of felt like they've just been trying to replace Bendis.
For sure.
And they just try to make all of these writers into Bendis. Oh, well, he could write 19 titles a month. Yeah. Well, I can't. Mark Bagley can draw an issue and a half a month too, but that doesn't mean everybody can draw an issue and a half a month.
Yeah.
So I know,
I'm not
Pele,
seeing it.
you've been a big fan of Donny Cates on Venom and all of his symbiote-related works. Do you think maybe they should give Venom a little break once Donny leaves, and that way, once Phil Kennedy Johnson jumps into his Extreme Carnage event, they're not just comparing him directly to what we just got in King and Black, which is probably going to be very difficult to live up to.
Yeah, I mean there's Cates is not leaving a whole lot of meat left on this bone, and they're passing this off to another writer that after Donnie's pretty much gnawed it down to the marrow. So what's going to be left? I mean, Carnage. Carnage. Didn't Century just rip him in half and throw him into the sun? I mean, he's already coming back, to do this again. So I know it's from a different universe, but it's kind of just, it's too soon. It's way too damn soon. They've had too much Carnage, way too much Venom lately. It just needs a different direction. They need to have a different event with a different crew. Give us a break for 12 months.
We already got Absolute Carnage. What, last year?
Yeah, it was only about 9 months ago. So
October 2019 is going on at the same time as House of X Powers of 10.
Okay.
But so do we really need another Carnage event?
No.
This soon?
No.
Nope.
No, then you got King and Black right in the middle of it. So Absolute Carnage is a prequel to King and Black, and then it turns out, is King and Black a prequel to Extreme Carnage? Probably not, but you could see it that way.
If it is, that's a huge step down from, Carnage as the precursor to Null. Okay, cool, I can get behind that. But then Null as just the warm-up act to Carnage again? Like, no. That's not how it works.
Now this would have been a great time with the Ultimate Symbiote event, the King in Black, with all the symbiote wrap up for 12, 24 months or something like that, and just wrap it up, and have Venom's just starting back all over again, have that build up for 12 months, 24 months, and then go into a lead-in event. You don't just, this is not going to work. It's not, I mean, it'll sell, but it's not editorially going to work as far as, good storytelling is concerned. But I don't think that's what they really care about right now. So,
I do need to interject for a moment and say thank you very much to Lane Kramer for supporting the channel with the super chat. I am wondering if I am part of the problem. I watched Perch's video on this, added to a sub list, and I feel like I am contributing to Marvel Eventitis, #Blame Perch. Joe, I'm all aboard blaming Perch for all this. Isn't he really to blame for encouraging Marvel to continue to overflow with events?
I mean, we shouldn't stop there, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's to blame for everything.
Yeah, City of Bruce, all that stuff.
Yeah. No, it's great. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough situation because like a lot of us have talked about before, they still sell. If no one bought variant covers, these stores wouldn't be ordering variant covers. Like there's a lot of problems here that it's the problem is everything's flimsy. We have no control over if people are going to keep buying variant covers or people are going to keep buying into events or not. And then what happens is one day they just don't. And then it all collapses. Like that's part of how the 90s collapse happened because you couldn't coordinate with everybody. But eventually everyone was like around the same time, like, I'm good. And it's a problem.
The thing that what I see is companies, at least the publishers used to understand, and entertainment in general used to understand the idea was to keep them wanting more.
Yeah.
but you can only keep them wanting more by not saturating the goddamn market before they stop and make them stop wanting more. You make something evergreen by leaving money on the table month in, month out, but you end up with longer term sustainability as a result.
Yeah.
Now they're just trying to get every penny off the table each month, but 6 months from now be damned.
Well, and it's diminishing returns every time. Like what's considered a successful event comic now, in comparison probably to even 4 or 5 years ago, is, it's a lot. The bar is a lot lower because you get diminishing returns, but they're kind of like, that's just the way they set up the market. At least that's the way I've seen it. What about you, Gevian?
Oh no, I mean I agree with everything that everyone says so far. It's just a simple fact of the matter is, guys, let's admit it. You're all when Lane said he wonders if he's part of the problem. Don't wonder. You are part of the problem. You guys keep cracking your wallets when these things open every time. And so why would they? So I think actually Marvel and DC have it right with the events because they aren't leaving money on. They aren't leaving. They don't need to leave money on the table because every time they pull one of these out, you guys keep throwing more money on the table. So I'll take that, and it just keeps going.
Well,
so
it's less money each time, though. I mean, it is less money.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, I don't disagree with the '90s analogy. That it's not like you're going to be like what was the guys from the Reddit where you all get together in your little group and say, okay, now's the day where we just cut off events for all time. I'm not saying that, but I said I agree with Joe. There was a natural fatigue. There was just a point where all of a sudden everybody says, I'm not doing this anymore. And at that point, you've killed the golden goose.
But if you restrain yourself and don't release that third event or that 73rd variant, if you stop and leave that money on the table that you can get right now, you will end up with a stronger product long term because they don't notice what also happens with it. Like, I mean, they do maybe, but it just doesn't dawn on them that in addition to losing interest in the variants, now they've lost interest even in the monthly book. Like, because some of the appeal of that monthly book is that.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but that would require all of us to believe that corporations, much less Marvel and DC, are wise as opposed to being greedy and stupid at times. The simple fact of that is you're exactly right that they are sacrificing long-term growth for short-term success. But the simple fact of the matter is no one's going to leave money on the table like that when they've already kind of figured out that with this particular customer base, if you keep doing it, there's going to be X amount of people who are going to buy this product and at least justify if I'm getting a 5% or a 10% return on this, why wouldn't I do it? Why would I do it? It's not like you guys aren't going away or rebelling.
They used to. They used to hold back.
I agree. They used to.
And they built a stronger product. Like, there was a time where X-Men was one title. And as a result, you kept having that want for more from the customer base. So more people and more people started getting on board that train. It wasn't until they overloaded it and did, and we're up to like a dozen X titles a month that it killed the golden goose. Now, are they still selling a dozen X titles a month? Yes. None of them, if you add all 12 of them up, you're probably still less than what you did on just Uncanny in 1987.
I don't disagree with that. But I still have not seen the Saturday Night Massacre of the X-Men titles. I thought it would have happened about 6 or 7 months ago, but I thought it definitely would have happened after X of Swords. But I have not seen the Saturday Massacre that reflects that. Because in other words, then what we have to assume is that Marvel is printing 12 X-Men titles a month and either not making money or breaking even, and somehow that's okay.
Well, they've been doing
that's the only alternative.
Well, but they've been doing that for years on all their other titles too. The only reason Miss Marvel stayed in print or stayed in publishing for so long is because it made up its loss on trade sales. Iceman only got a second, season because it made up its cost finally when trade sales came out, and even that was only a cut. They were just short of being a break-even product. They have no problem making essentially break-even products.
Yep. Yeah, it's a loss leader strategy, and they've been. So I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
We haven't seen the final X-Men sales number because they haven't been released by Diamond through. Released by Diamond, obviously the Marvel numbers, but I have a sneak peek, and they're not very good except for a couple titles. Marvel. Wolverine and X-Men are actually pretty strong, but the other ones have all deteriorated quite badly. But they're not like at 10,000 or below that. It's not nearly that bad.
It's the Las Vegas business strategy. Look, I pay X amount of money to get Don Rickles to do the show, but I make up the money on the casino floor and maybe selling concessions. So I mean, I'm not disagreeing with that, and I don't disagree with the whole thing. As I said it for years, I never asked for 10 X-Men spinoffs. You never asked me about that, and I don't buy 10 X-Men spinoffs. But apparently somebody is. So what I think and feel is irrelevant. But it's like I thought New Mutants was a bridge too far when it came out. Much less what was it, X Factor after that. But it's like somebody keeps buying this stuff, and to the point where, like Doc is saying, if you're not making the money on the monthly titles when they come out, you're making it out on the trade paperbacks or whatever the New Mutants advance was for whatever that film turned out to be. But that's how if they've got bank like that, this strategy works. The loss leader strategy works when you know in the aggregate that I might lose money here, but overall in terms of the character brand of the franchise, I'm going to make a 10% profit on it. That's how you justify it. But now, are you in a sense not doing as much money as you could if you had one single focused X-Men title? Of course. Same thing with the Venom thing. I don't read Venom. I don't read Carnage, but even standing all the way over here, I'm like, dang, dude, just put it all in the one Venom book. It just gets some real volume going and make some real money, as opposed to just diffusing all of these sales all over the place, and in the long run, watering the product down to where you get it to the point where it becomes Legion of Superheroes or Teen Titans. And I'll leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my point is they could always step back to a better and more sane business model. They need a lot of shit. Well, they need a lot of shit to go right in order for their convoluted, nonsensical business model to function, versus just make good comic, sell good comic. That's not a hard business model.
Yeah.
Hold on, Doc. Me and you in agreement. You're saying what should be. I'm saying what is, and that's what it is. That's what they're doing. That's why they can't sell a Legion of Superheroes book to save their life. That's why after this Teen Titans Academy, I'm done with Teen Titans. I've been a Teen Titans fan since I was like 6 years old. I am done with that joint. It's like they don't know what they're doing, how to do it. Other than Teen Titans Go, which I watch with my kids, I'm done. And so you're right. Does it take like 30 years for it to happen? Absolutely, it will happen. But it's like I'm done. I'm not reading. If something comes out when Legion came out, the last one with Bendis, when that came out, I was like, I got the replica ring that they were giving out as a freebie, and I walked away. I didn't pick up one issue of that run.
No, you guys got some of those? You guys got some of those?
Yeah, I got shafted. I got the little Legion ring, but I did not pick up one. I said, "Oh, they trying this again? Okay, good luck with that. It's over. The Legion is done."
We ended up with 3 rings. We ended up with 3 rings, and that's it. Then it's like, we don't have any more. We're going to try to do another run on those. No, assholes. If I hadn't taken one, we might have had 3. And then I know that somebody else that works there took another one. So I think we ended up with one customer that got 1 ring, and it went to a guy in a lottery system. So it's like, whatever.
Sorry. So getting back to Teen Titans, Joe, what did you think? Were you as upset as Gervain? I know we reviewed it. Some people thought we were too harsh. That maybe that the parts that we criticized were meant to be. They were like supposed to be social commentary, making fun of the HJWs.
But look, first off, that I don't think so. But
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. But if someone out there, you paid money, you read that book, you had a good time, great. I'm more than happy for you. I wish I was you. I would,
that's right.
So I will never begrudge someone, like, because I mean, at the end of the day, Teen Titans Academy, while I hated that comic, it's not like a destructive piece of media that's going to be the downfall of society.
Yeah, but it is, though. It's destructive in that it destroys the Teen Titans. It's going to look.
Yes,
it's like Bendis. It's like Bendis. There's like a stank. There's a taint on Superman now that people that read Superman still can't get into it. They still haven't come back to the damn title. And I'm begging them, please, come back, read Superman. It still smells funny. And now it's going to be the same way with Teen Titans. And with Legion. It's just going to be stank.
Yeah, and to Joe's point, everybody has the right to spend their money any way they want to. They have the right to spend their money so they can enjoy whatever story they enjoy. Everyone doesn't have to enjoy what I have to enjoy. My point is that Teen Titans Academy is not Teen Titans. It doesn't have to be the Wolfman Perez that I grew up reading and the version that I love, but it at least should be Teen Titans Go, which means intrinsically it should be entertaining on some level. But if people want to pay money for that, that's fine. But you can't pay money for it and then complain. No, it's like, events happen because someone out there is buying events to the level that Marvel and DC is like, well, let's go back and do this again. If you didn't buy it, they would just go find something else to do with their money. And you know how I know? Because there was that Vigilante series that came out maybe a year or two ago, where was the black guy? It was like Vigilante something. And they shut that joint down on issue 3. Now, I was buying it, but they had no problem saying, no, we're done. No more print copies after 3. If you want it, go get the digital trade paperback. I'm like, well, what the hell, man? But they had no problem doing that to me. And that was because why? Because the book wasn't making money. Doesn't matter whether I liked it or not. Doesn't matter why I spent money or not. If it wasn't making money, they shut it down. So if everyone's saying events are terrible, okay, that's great. But you are part of the problem because apparently it's making enough money that they keep doing them year in, year out ad nauseum.
But and I guess the point we were making here is, while I understand you're looking at it from a inside the comic kind of world perspective, does it make money? Well, yeah, but good business says, hey, you know what? Each time we do this, we're making less money than we did before the last time we did this. So we can milk this cow until it's entirely dry. Or we can make other money in the meantime, let this particular cow's udders fill back up by having people want let that desire for something build up again, and then we give it to them.
It's the Nintendo strategy. You artificially, purposely restrict the supply in order to keep the demand high at all times. So therefore, you can get premium pricing for it. I'm not disagreeing with that strategy. I'm just saying, in the comics industry, for whatever magical reason, they seem to be able to do these things for years, if not decades, and there doesn't seem to be any point where people don't start coming back for more.
Well,
I know, and I have my suspicions as to why. But the thing is that if any other industry, they do what you're talking about, Doc, all the time. They purposely restrict supply.
Well, because they recognize that less people are coming back each time, whereas the comic industry is too goddamn stupid. Because
I would agree.
And I mean, as I've said probably 1,000 times, and everyone here is tired of hearing me say, anyone that works in marketing or advertising or sales in comics that was any good would not be working in comics. They got the D lists, they got the D students of all of your respective business and marketing schools that are employed in this industry.
Yeah.
Anybody that was any good wouldn't be here.
My name is Les, and I am part of the problem. I read and review too many Marvel events on Taking Critical.
Yeah, but I mean, I said it about Daniel Cherry. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, well he's got video game and NBA experience." I said, "Yeah, and if he was any fucking good at it, he'd still be in video games or at the NBA." Only reason he's at DC is because the only reason he's at DC is because no one else wanted to hire him.
I don't know that you know that, Doc. I think you're just talking out of your bunghole right now.
I am talking out of my ass. I am talking out of my ass, but guess what? That's the way the world works. If you're any
that's
good,
your perception, and I just want to say the Doc does not have an inside source that says Daniel Cherry is actually a scrub and he was begging DC Comics for a
he's
job.
in comics. That makes him a scrub.
They've not gotten any better. So I know that Doc's at least right on part of it. So
that's not true because
it's gotten more woke.
Can I talk?
I don't know.
Can I segue to the next subject, please? Thank you. That's
Go ahead.
Because DC Comics just did a new marketing strategy and they got lots of buzz. DC Comics Round Robin Tournament had everyone talking about it. The entire industry, people that do not read comic books, were talking about DC Comics Round Robin Tournament. So if Daniel Cherry wanted to get the word out about DC Comics, I think that he did a pretty good job here.
And we're talking as though people not involved in comics talking about comics is a good thing. Tell me whenever it turns into sale, then I'll give a shit.
Yeah. Put butts in seats.
Yeah.
There you go. Every 18 inches. Yep.
Yep. I ain't seen him put a single ass in a seat yet.
There you go.
I can get. It's free to talk about comics on Twitter.
Well, we haven't seen the result of the vote. We don't even know what they're going to publish.
Yeah, I'll see whenever there's some sales behind it.
All right, Doc. Well, what did you know? What are you excited for?
What did I was excited to not vote. I'm like, no. You know what? I'm just if there was an option to just see what the results were. Now I hope JLQ wins. Oh God, please let that win, so we can name the shit out of that. I mean, come on, that is nothing but meme material. You know it.
That's the one advantage.
So what are you thinking, Chris? Did you see the DC Round Robin? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah, there was a few of them that I voted on. There was a few of them that the concept seemed interested to me. I'm sorry if I'm lagging and stuff. I don't know. I can't tell what's going on here for a lot of this, but there was a few things that stood out to me that I was like, I would check that out if they actually did that. So I voted for a couple of things, but I didn't vote for all of them. Some of them, the brackets both were bad ideas to me. So I just moved on to other things that seemed somewhat interesting. It would be really nice to know. It would be really nice to have like a payoff. Like you knew who the writer or the artist would be for whatever the first, maybe first two issues of whatever this series was. Because that would kind of affect my voting as well. So, I don't know. This whole bracket thing, it is something they're trying to do. I guess it is trying to put butts in the seats or trying to get some hype for them. But I don't know. It's just not enough for me.
I think they should have done it more like the Top Cow pilot season.
Mm.
Where they do one issue, like the first issue for every one of these series with that creator, whatever creative team, and then see which one wins.
Yeah.
Or even hire them for 6 pages.
Pele, so I'm assuming that you voted for Paws Off the Justice League.
Oh, jeez.
I haven't even voted. I looked at it and I was like, oh shit. I just
basically the Justice League are replaced by pets because Superman and the Justice League are missing. Crypto is the leader.
Yeah. Okay.
You like dogs?
All right. I'll go with that. That's better. That's the least offensive of all the available options, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like Comet's a natural leader, though, and he just keeps getting screwed out of that spot.
Oh, no. Bat Hound.
Ace the Bat Hound.
Ace the Bat Hound is the natural leader. He's badass. But oh god, dude, there's not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot of good options here. I'm looking at the brackets. It's like,
what about the cow?
Yeah, there are not a lot of good options.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Bat Cow.
The Green Lantern story sounded pretty cool. I like the Zatanna story sounded pretty cool. Swamp Thing sounded the best. But for the most part, like it's gotta be Etta Candy, right? We want the hero candy stripe.
Okay, yeah, Swamp Thing, a House of Secrets. Yeah, okay, all right, there you go. That's okay.
Not
nobody wants no stinking Etta Candy.
But like, not knowing who the creators are is such a hurdle here. You're asking me to vote, and it's like, okay, is this Mark Russell's Etta Candy, or is this Brian Azzarello's Etta Candy? Because those are two very different books.
Yeah.
Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermeo's Etta Candy might be interesting.
As long as we don't get like the Brave and the Bug, it's.
Oh, that's fair.
You don't like Ambush Bug?
Oh God, no! That's so early '80s, man. Just no.
I thought you and Doc were trying to bring the '80s back.
Just parts of the '80s. You know, like
the shoulder pads.
Like like wanton capitalism and stuff like that. The rest of it, just kind of.
It's all shoulder pads and salmon button-down shirts.
You know what we
girls with foofy hair and aerobics classes.
I'm okay with girls with big hair. I'm perfectly fine. Fuck the ozone layer. Get them some Aquanet.
That's right.
No, the one that confuses me the most though in this is Robin's. Don't we already have that?
Yeah.
I mean, just look at like literally any of the Bat family books, and there's like 7 Robins in each of them.
That's the one part where the Joker is right. He's right. There's too many Robins. There's way too many Batman family. And I wish he'd do something about that.
Some of them need a killing.
They
you
do.
all trying to, Robin us of a new Robin book?
Yeah. No. See, I'm with Joe now. See, I'm with Joe. That title's the one that convinces me this is nothing but one big troll. That's Robin's like really friends, but with Batman's former sidekicks. I was like, if this didn't come out on April 1st, I'm like, that convinced me this was a troll. That and Justice League Queer. I'm like, these guys can't be serious with these title descriptions and these premises. Night Runner is just like.
Oh yeah, and I mentioned this in the video with Wes we did on this. I was on the phone with a comics creator that we all know of, and we found out about the Round Robin together. I just opened up Twitter in the middle of the phone call and was like, oh my god, what the hell is this? We're scrolling through it, and I'm just listing off to this creator what the titles are, and I'm like, JLQ. And they were just like, JLQ? What is that? Justice League Queer? What the hell is that? Like,
yeah, that's
and I found out it was and informed them, and they were just.
Well, the Robins is hosed. The Robins is just screwed right off the bat there because that's going to be.
Robins is beating it into the ground.
Yeah, Robins is winning.
The people that they haven't run that through Tumblr yet. Apparently, this bracket has
losing on Instagram. It's losing by more on Instagram than on Twitter.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, we do all know that the whole purpose of this Round Robin is just to make an excuse for them to actually release the Swamp Thing book, right?
I mean,
I hope so.
I'm wondering.
It's the only serious entry in this whole.
There's like 3 of them.
Is Paws Off Justice League beating Jesse Quick?
I think Jesse Quick's winning.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
But the thing is, this feels like it's in line with, since Daniel Cherry's gotten there, the whole just every part of the cow strategy, because they're releasing all of this like backlog of unpublished stories they're releasing digitally.
You know what you end up with though. You know what you end up with all of the cow strategy. You end up with this. You end up with a 3.5 inch 3.5 foot bull penis over here that I've got leaning against the wall. They couldn't figure out what to do with. Nobody should have made something out of that. There's some things that don't need to be used, and this is they're reaching here for things that just shouldn't be used.
But yeah,
me.
no, I
have
get
many
that.
questions.
But but like that was Future State. Future State was, oh, we already started. So I can see this round robin being like, hey, you different going around to different editors, being like, oh, you got like pitches laying around. All right, contest, sure. Let's just dump them into a contest. They're just using everything they have to try to either make money or create buzz, and that's what I think this is.
So I do need to interject for a second. We do have Kenneth Dowling supporting the channel with the super chat. Hi, panel. Hope all is well. Wes, I watched your video with Gevian and Jason Medley. As an African American, I found it informative and entertaining. Shout out to Gevian, Medley, and thank you for posting. And certainly thank you very much to Joe Corallo for joining us on that one.
Yeah,
and if you haven't gone to the podcast and listened to the full interviews, it's like an hour and 15 minutes. We only posted like the 25 minutes of them talking, or parts of them talking about Milestone, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. Gervais, that was a great conversation.
Oh, it was a wonderful conversation, and Joe was a wonderful fount of information about black creators and black superheroes in the industry. At one point, I was like, he's almost have to make me turn in my black card with some of the stuff he was coming up with. But it was really, I mean, one point that Joe made I thought was real interesting was about the prevalence of content from African American creators featuring African American characters in newspaper strips, because I think that's something that a lot of people forget about how much wonderful comic book work was at one point happening in the newspapers. So, you know, if you guys get a chance to check the video out, please do so. Jason had a great time being on there. If Wes ever gets to the point of releasing the whole thing, I think you'll find it not only informative, as Kenneth said, but also very entertaining. And hopefully we'll get to do it again. And I'm definitely reaching out to some other people to come on board, because I think the more we learn about this industry and what it has done well, I think the better off we set ourselves up for the future. So I had a great time, and like I said, I'm really impressed with Joe's knowledge of the industry overall, and really was glad to be a part of that conversation. So yeah.
Well, thank you very much, really.
Yeah. And thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling. So we do have an update. Let's get an update on these votes. On the, what do we got? This is the Green Lanterns versus Etta Candy. Green Lanterns are up 73% to 26%. On Brave and the Bug versus Zatanna, Zatanna is wiping the floor with the Brave and the Bug, 78 to 21%. No. Lobo Animal Man is thumping Son of Creeper, 63% to 37%. Justice League Queer is well behind Robin's, 53 to 47%. But that one has like twice as many votes as any other category, over 32,000 votes on Twitter so far. Paws Off the Justice League is behind, unfortunately, Jesse Quick Control, almost 60 to 40. What else we got? Blue Beetle thumping Night Runner, 70 to 30. Ooh, wow. Suicide Squad 7 is leading Swamp Thing, 50.3% to 49.7. I'm shocked with that one.
Wow.
They'll get the bots in they'll bring the bots in to upvote Swamp Thing at the last time. It'll be like a never. You know what? Never mind. I was going to make an election joke, and I'm just going to shut up now.
Well, I've got a vote. I've still got my vote, so I'll make sure I get a vote on that one.
Definitely go in there and vote for Swamp Thing if you can. And then finally, Asteria, the last Amazon, because we need a new Amazon, is beating out Superman and Lois Ignition. There you go.
Hey, so this was actually posted on April Fool's Day, right?
It was the day before.
Yeah. Yeah. I just like to say this. And if you buy any of these series when they come out, you're the problem. So if you buy this, if you buy whatever the winner is, you're the problem. There's no way this is not a joke. No way this is not a joke.
This is
right, pause up.
I'm actually far more interested in an update from the Pigeon in the warehouse last week than I am on the results of this round robin.
Man, if we could get we get Drew in the comments, let us know what happened
Yeah,
to Pigeon.
yeah. I want to know what happened
to the Pigeon
right
now. Probably the supervisor.
I pitched Wes. I was like, you should do like a Pigeon update video.
It's true.
And you know, so I tried. I did my part.
There you go.
Yeah, we need Drew to give us a Pigeon update.
Well, I can tell you this: a sparrow got in my house, about 4 days ago, and he didn't make it.
Well, you got a bunch of cats, so
yeah, he did not make it. He lasted about 5 minutes, and there was nothing left but a couple of feathers and a head. So it was not pretty. So
that's a house with cats versus a warehouse with comics. I mean, some of these comics are terrible, almost as terrible as cats, but they also don't eat birds.
Well, just saying.
I don't like cats. Sorry.
I mean, and some of these pigeons, like you see some of these like New York pigeons, like I cross the street, they are tough birds.
Hey, did you see that video of the pigeon and the rat fighting? I mean, man, that pigeon was giving that rat the business. You know,
it'll shank you. And now I'm getting like a Tiny Toon Adventures flashback with the three
good feathers.
With the three the good feathers. Yep.
That's right.
And does anyone else have anything to say about the DC round robin tournament before we move on to?
Before we move on, I think that regardless of what the outcome is, we're still going to get a JLQ book.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't know if they wanted to publish it. Why would they even put it in the tournament?
Ugh.
Yeah, I don't think they would put it in the tournament because they're not going to publish something after it gets embarrassingly blown out in the first round.
Well, technically, it's got the second most votes because that particular bracket has like twice as many votes as anything else. I don't know, Joe. Do you have faith that we're going to get a JLQ?
I don't know if we'll get a JLQ. What we might get is, depending on how this goes, depending on how the DC Pride anthology book goes, if there's interest, they might try to roll this out as like a quarterly anthology thing and try that for a few quarters. But I don't know about a Justice League queer.
What do they do? They go fight crime with fabulous colors. I don't. What's the hook there? I mean, they can't. I just don't get it. I don't.
Well, I don't imagine the comic books for you.
Well, I just don't get how what the different. How do you
think it's for anyone? That's the problem.
There's definitely room here and a demand for something. The way they're going about it, they haven't figured it out yet. This might be their way to be like, okay, this branding isn't working. Like they could be doing that with a lot of these books and be like, all right, branding it and saying that this way isn't working. Let's try something else, because there's books and I mean, like Doc will probably back me up on this. Like Midnighter is great.
Yes.
And
hell yeah.
And Midnighter, like when they relaunched it with Steve Orlando a few years ago, they didn't relaunch it as Midnighter Queer.
No,
it was just
no. I mean, I understand that. I just it's more of a thing like, okay, they are like say they are, but how does that come? How does that actually? I just don't understand how that gets introduced into the story unless you're just pandering and
I know exactly. I know exactly what this is. They want in on some of that sweet New Warriors press.
Oh, okay.
Because that worked out so fucking good.
I think there's a legitimate like they're trying something in terms of like, okay, well, how do we pitch this to like a younger I'm not saying they're doing it well. I'm not saying it's perfectly thought out, but they're going like, okay, well, what do kids talk about on Twitter? And they look, and every profile is queer and this and that, and they're like, what if we called it Justice League queer. Like this is how these things probably happen often, because so. You know, I mean, there's books like Young Avengers, for example, which has a lot of queer characters in it, but again, they don't call it Queer Avengers or something. So, like, they're doing trial and error to try to figure out, like, well, how do we sell this book? And I think that's likely what's happening here.
I have a wonderful pitch for this.
That's the problem.
But
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Then I want to record my pitch for this with Joe and Perch. We'll see if they're willing to let me put it out on video, because it might offend everybody. Just putting that one out there.
Don't ask me to pitch this one, because it will absolutely get you demonetized.
Yeah. I'm not crazy. But I do want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. $10 super chat, very generous. This fan vote for Robbins instinctively reminds me of DC placing votes for Jason Todd to live or die back in the 80s. And Joe, I'm sorry I forgot to mention you in the last chat. You have great points.
Oh, stop, Kenneth. You're fine, but thank you.
And
I remember voting in that. That was so awesome. I voted like 5 times.
Are you the guy that set up his phone to continuously vote for Jason Todd to die?
No. But I did vote 5 times for him to die, calling that number, and it costs like $2 a pop or whatever like that. Yeah,
it's burned into my skull. The first printing of that trade, when they pumped out like the cheap trade after that, and it's like got the Denny O'Neil quote right in the front, being like, if they ever bring back Jason Todd, it'll undermine like everything. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
Basically.
So, Joe, do you think we're going to be seeing more of these interactive polls? We just had the poll to name Nightwing's new dog. I believe he ends up being Bitewing. We've got this poll for this to be determined series that we're going to have published. Do you think they're looking to get people more incorporated into the process or something? Maybe buy into it?
I think that's the idea. It's a stupid idea. It doesn't work. You're opening this up to people who do not care. Like, this is the problem, is when you do these public polls, you are baiting people that don't actually care and aren't actually going to buy the books to give their opinion, which I also understand is the point of social media. It's people giving opinions for things they shouldn't even care about. But that's that. I think we're going to get more of this before people pick up on that and realize that. It's unfortunate because it's stupid and a waste of everybody's time. But I think we're in it for a little while longer.
It always reminds me, most people in this panel remember this. So I think we're all about the same age when MTV used to do the vote for the new VJ that they were going to have. Mm-hmm. And you'd always in the final, you'd have somebody that was serious that knew a lot about music, and then you'd have that moron stoner Jesse guy that knew nothing, but he was really dumb, and everybody voted for Jesse instead of the guy that actually liked music, just because it would be funny.
Yeah,
that's what these always turn into.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah,
that's too bad. Anyone else have anything to say about DC Round Robin? All right, let's move on to the next one. Is Doc gone? Doc is gone. This is a Doc subject, too. We've got John Romita Jr. is returning to Marvel Comics this July. Obviously, he made his name, I think, replacing his father on Spider-Man. Became a artistic legend at Marvel Comics. Hasn't been quite so great over at DC as of late. I think moving back to Marvel is going to be a good thing. Pele, are you excited for this? And which character do you want to see him illustrate first?
Which John Romita Jr. are we going to get? Are we going to get, oh my God, I'm on a time crunch, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do, and I've got to get this shit out as fast as I can? Or are we going to get, late 80s, early 90s, I've got all the time in the world to do one comic book? Because if we get the latter, oh my God, it's going to be great. If we get the former, I'll pass. I'm hoping that they're just going to give him some time to breathe. They're going to bring him back, a triumphant return, John Romita Jr. Maybe give him a Spider-Man annual, something like that, to cut his teeth on, and give him some time to work on it. 2 months or something like that, and I hope he knocks it out of the park. Because I have great love for his earlier work and his work in the 80s. Beautiful, late 70s work even. Beautiful stuff. And that's when the line worked for him, and now it doesn't work for him at all. So
yeah, unfortunately, he is in his 60s now, so he's not quite in his prime anymore. But I'm with you. I don't think that he's probably an ongoing series really isn't the best format for him or the best use. Maybe an annual here or there, maybe like a mini series.
Right.
Joe, are you excited to see John Romita Jr. return to Marvel Comics? Feels like he has more love for those characters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. Sort of build on Pele's point. If he gets all the time in the world, and if he's coming back to do something special, then that could work. I mean, if they're bringing him back and they're going to team him up with, let's say, it's for X-Men Legends with Claremont or something like that. Sure. If he's going to do a limited series graphic novel or something with old collaborators, get him and Roger Stern doing some Spider-Man again, something like that.
Yeah.
That could work. If there's a few other things too. If they want to do something special with Daredevil and Chip Zdarsky is still on the book, Chip Zdarsky, JR, that could be something. If you're special. If you're bringing him back, do something special. And I think the special things you can do is give him an old writer collaborator or a hot new guy who's really going to help blend like the old with the new in a way that's going to resonate with fans of multiple generations rather than turn off fans of multiple generations.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Thank you.
Looks like we have lost Chris. I don't know that he's going to come back. He's having technical issues. Gervain, do you have any feelings or memories of John Romita Jr. working at Marvel Comics?
Oh, yeah. No, I just didn't think DC was a good fit. I think, you don't like to pigeonhole people, but I think with John Romita Jr., I think basically he has become known for, beloved for basically doing very good work on street-level Marvel superheroes. I mean, Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, that was pretty much it for me. I love that book. I think it was in many ways his magnum opus. I think if he never did another comic after that, he would have been good. But I think that's where his style best fits. Like someone said in the comments, it's like a very honestly, yeah. When he did the Superman stuff, I was like, I didn't get it.
Oh, I know
even
that.
The X-Men stuff. I have the X-Men run of John Romita Jr., but to me, he never really fit for X-Men. Even though one of the storylines that I love is that Kulan Goff storyline, which I thought that his style, because of that, really almost the dirtiness of that whole story was so just like grim that I think his art style fit for that. But I just think his style translates well with street level kind of stories.
Yeah,
and
I'm just.
I don't think he does the superhero stuff well, like the like the Superman. I don't even think he's like a good Batman. I've never liked his Whenever he's done Batman a few times, it doesn't look good. But it's like for some reason with the Marvel characters, the street level guys, to me that's where the appeal is for me. Yeah.
Well, personally, I've always liked John Romita Jr. I don't like him inking himself. When he has another inker, I think it brings his art up to another level. I just don't think he gives a shit about DC characters.
He doesn't. You can tell. It's ugly. It's downright ugly.
Yeah.
I just don't think he cares. He grew up as a Marvel guy, and him coming back, and he spent the first 40 years of his career as an X-Men or as a Marvel guy, and then he went over to DC, and it doesn't seem to work. I mean, it's like when Stan went and did that Just Imagine thing. It doesn't work. His style is much more suited for. I mean, because you can look he's even done like the mods and stuff because he's done Thor, but put him on Superman, and it's like I don't care.
Yeah,
that's a good point, Doc. Now y'all forgot about the Thor stuff. You're right. I forgot about that. Yep.
I mean, he's done Thor. He's done Street Level. He's done. I mean, he's one of the great Spider-Man artists of all time.
I have that right next to me here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd put him in the top 3. I'd put him in the top 3 Spider-Man artists.
Yeah. I just don't think he gives a damn about DC characters. And it was just about a paycheck for him there. But now coming back to Marvel, I think that's where his heart lies. And he's always wanted to he was the kind of guy that I always expected to be a Marvel lifer.
Yep.
And the same way that I always expected Bagley to kind of be a Marvel lifer. And when he went over to DC, I was always like, I mean, Bagley's stuff at DC wasn't all that great. Neither of the Kubert's stuff at DC was all that great. And John Romita Jr., his stuff at DC is not all that great. I feel like some artists are just born to work for one company.
You know, I think that I think he's reaching an age. I think John Romita Jr. is reaching an age where perhaps he wants to come back to Marvel for a few runs, stuff like that. Maybe before retiring. This is going to be. He's like, I want to come home. I want to come home before I retire, and and do some work, to finish up my career, and that would be great. And I think that they give him some time, and he can tap into that well one more time and give us some really great books.
But will his comeback be greater than his setback?
Oh,
don't even do it, Joe.
I'm going to find you and set you on fire.
Well, Diamond won't be distributing him, so there you go.
There you go, right?
But I mean, yeah, like some artists, and John Romita is definitely one of those guys that isn't, his style does not work for DC. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's either his style or his level of give a shit.
Yeah, he doesn't have a sensibility for it. Yeah, I give you that. Yeah, that I think that's really what you guys are talking about. Because with Bagley, I didn't even realize he did any work at DC, and I'm a huge Bagley fan, but I can definitely see how he would not work on a lot of their titles over there.
Didn't he do Legionnaires or something?
I had no idea he did. If he did, I had no idea.
It was in the mid 2000s. He went over right after his Ultimate Spider-Man run. He went over to DC for like a year and was like, nope, and just noped all
Justice League of America.
If
it was?
If he's not doing Spider-Man, he's wasting his talent. That's all. That's what I think. Period.
Yeah, there's a reason why Bagley is the most
prolific.
Well, his while he might not be the most popular Spider-Man artist of all time, Spider-Man is the most marketable character. There was a study a couple of years ago. Spider-Man's merchandise sales were bigger than Superman and Batman combined.
Yeah.
And almost all of that merchandise was with Bagley art. All the T-shirts, all the lunch boxes, all that stuff.
What, Doc?
Backpacks.
What did you say?
It was all Bagley art.
No, you're saying Spider-Man's licensed merchandise outsells DC's?
It did for a short time.
Spider-Man was his merchandise was outselling Batman and Superman combined.
Okay, when was that?
Mid 2000s or early 2010s. That's the last time I saw
Might have been
study
during
on
the
it.
Spider-Man 2. It might have been during the Spider-Man end of the Tobey Maguire.
Because even when at the height of the MCU, DC Comics still has been destroys Marvel's sales as far as licensed merchandise, T-shirts.
I'm just saying that there was a period of time where Spider-Man was outselling the combined Spider-Man merch was outselling combined Superman and Batman merch. And I think it was around 2010, 2011, and almost all of it was exclusively using Bagley art.
Well, it sounds like Dark Knight Rises also played a role in that.
It could have been. I mean, I wouldn't have sold anything from Dark Knight Rises.
So I do need to say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling. He says, this is a reverse Tom Taylor situation. His Marvel stuff was not working. Then he went to DC and he's killing it. Doc, I know you have been burned by him, but LOL, but you should give his DC stuff a chance. Absolutely. His Nightwing was quite tasty.
Only if he's doing zombies.
So, someone sounds like Tony Zuko over there.
Yeah.
F
Yeah,
that
basically.
Australian douche.
Yeah.
I
like his zombie work. Deceased
Yep.
is fantastic. I'm not going to take anything away from him there. Deceased was fantastic. And thank you again, Kenneth Dowling. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Kenneth.
Did you read Nightwing, Pele?
Yeah, it's all right. It wasn't like, but it was all right.
That's crazy. There you go. But I agree with you, Kenneth. It's a weird situation where some people just do great at one publisher and they don't do well at another.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you very much for supporting the channel. Does anyone else have anything to say about John Romita Jr.? Doc, I know you got more to say.
No,
You want to see him on X-Men. You want to see him as the new X-Men artist with Jonathan Hickman.
Actually, I'd be
No.
okay with that.
No.
I want to see him do a. I want to see him do a Spider-Man annual. I want to see him do some Spider-Man stuff. Yeah,
But I'm really tired of seeing these fucking Stuart Immonen clones on X-Men.
Yeah.
And that's all they've been doing. I mean, look, Mahmoud Osrar is a great artist. He's just a Stuart Immonen clone. R.B. Silva, Stuart Immonen clone. Who was the other one?
I like RB.
The one Pepe Larraz, Stuart Immonen clone. The guy that was on X-Men Gold that got fired for being a racist, Stuart Immonen clone.
Pepe Larraz is not a Stuart Immonen clone. He's not a clone. No.
He is. It's the same art style.
No, Doc, you're wrong. Sorry. Let's move on.
All right, well let's move on. I appreciate that.
No, let me say something about John Romita Jr. coming back to Marvel. This is what I have to say about that. Yes. John Romita Jr. needs to be taken off of anything that's bright and flashy, and he needs to be put on things that are just dark, grim, and gritty, because he's awesome Punisher artist, awesome Wolverine artist. Anything else you can throw in that, he'd probably be good for like a Ghost Rider or Midnight Suns or Moon Knight, maybe, kinda. Just depends on Moon Knight. I'm not 100% on that now that I mention it to say it out loud. But John Romita Jr. should have always, to me, he always should have stayed at Marvel. He's just Marvel.
Yeah. Speaking of Moon Knight, though, I saw CB Cebulski tweeted something, I think it was yesterday or this morning, about including Moon Knight on that piece of JRJR promo art was done for a reason, because he is going to be doing something with Moon Knight.
Yeah, they announced a writer and everything. He said something about a writer too and an artist on that. So yeah,
he didn't. He said that Moon Knight was coming back, and that's why he was included in the image. He didn't say that John Romita Jr. was illustrating it.
Okay. I took the implication that it was a connection. Okay, never mind.
No, but he hasn't done much with Moon Knight, so it would be interesting to see him do something. But yeah, I think in terms of like the classic Claremont stuff, if you're gonna have Claremont do some issues of Legends, Cockrum's not with us anymore. Byrne's not happening. Paul Smith is hasn't done comics in like 15 years. You're not getting Silvestri or Lee, so you don't have a lot of options.
Yep.
Well, they could get Silvestri.
They could, yeah.
Because he's come back. Remember, he did
New Mutants, or not New Mutants, New X-Men he did, and then
he did New X-Men, then he did some stuff around I don't remember if it was Second Coming or Messiah Complex or
right.
One of those events. And then he did all the covers for around Deadly Genesis or Phoenix, Phoenix End Song, Phoenix War Song. He did a bunch of that stuff too. Mm-hmm. But that was at a time when he had an agreement where Top Cow was doing art, because I remember Tyler Kirkham was still with Top Cow at the time, and he did some X-Men because it was kind of like their agreement with Aspen before.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So.
All right, well, let's move on from the John Romita Jr. segment. I do want to say congratulations to him, and I'm definitely hoping for rejuvenation.
Yep.
Wait, we do have a super chat. Let's hit this one before we get to the next topic. This is from Kenneth Dowling. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Question: Joe mentioned this, and you said it before. There will be Spider-Man J.R. Stern omnibus coming out. I've never had an omnibus before. It's a lot of book. Should I buy it? Joe, should he buy it?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the it's for people who aren't as well versed. I mean, Roger went on to come back to Spider-Man periodically. That stuff's not in there. It's just really his 80s run on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, into Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, definitely get it. I mean, that's what a lot of people put as one of the best runs on the book. I've talked to people, interviewed people who talk about things like, Stan, Ditko, and, Romita Sr. are, the bedrock of that book. That's the book. But it was Roger Stern that really made them fans of Spider-Man. So I would definitely pick that up, especially you go to places like cheapgraphicnovels.com or in stock trades. Yeah. I love having omnibuses just to have the one and dones, but I like it a lot more if I'm saving at least 40%. So
if it's a story driven situation, I like an omnibus, because it's like Neil Gaiman's Sandman. I just got in that really nice, beautiful, fancy one, and I've had it over sit here next to the chair, and I'll just read like 3 or 4 pages at a time, and then just put it down and come back to it later, and it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and that's a meaty one. That's like about 50 issues in that one. So you're really getting your money's worth. They rake you over the coals if you're an X-Men fan. Some of those omnibuses are like the same, are also $125, but that's like 700 pages as opposed to like 1,200. So
I mean, it included the first. I think it has the first 10 story arcs from Sandman or like maybe 8. In one omnibus, and it's like you could club somebody over the head with that thing. It's like a New Jersey phone book.
Oh yeah, no, I recently got the Hellblazer by Garth Ennis omnibus, and you could absolutely murder most people with it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Not quite as good as the complete Calvin and Hobbes, which is definitely a good bludgeoning tool.
Yeah.
But still quite.
I still need to get that.
Yeah.
That thing weighs 20 pounds.
I know.
Yeah.
A complete Calvin and Hobbes weighs 20 pounds.
Or Big Damn City, if you have the complete Sin City collection. I got that gigantic.
There was last year or 2 years ago when they released that Children of the Atom box.
Yes.
The X-Men one that was like $600, but it had like all of Uncanny X-Men up through like issue 500 or something.
It was insane. Yeah.
And it was like 8 or 10 omnibuses inside of a giant slipcase.
Wow.
Yeah, you could basically use it as like the foundation for your house. You could do some heavy construction on top of it.
All right, fellas. Well, let's thank you very much for counting down. Let's get back on track. We do have some details regarding the Marvel Penguin Random House deal. I'm going to run down some of what we know here. Let me bring it up. So we do know that they are going to be. They have a new facility in the Northeast. They have an entire new process as far as packaging the products to ship them out. That's never going to been done before, not even by Diamond. But this is the big thing, Pele. They're going to be offering 60-day EOM terms. Essentially, if you order your comic books for sale in October, you don't have to pay for them in December, so you have time to actually sell through them. And they're going to be offering a standard 50% off cover price, freight included for all comic books shipped in U.S. and Canada. What did you think about these new terms? Is this going to be agreeable to you, or are you going to be going through a wholesaler like Diamond?
I'm going to try it. The 50% off sounds good, but that's really not quite as good as what I was getting before. It's about, it's close. It's close, but not quite. But, getting terms like that, that's attractive too. So you got to count in your cost of money for 2 months and everything like that and add that up. I'll have to sit down with a calculator, but, it very well could, be better value. So, I think it's fantastic. I'm wondering what shops are going to have to jump through as far as, perhaps meeting certain credit approvals, to qualify. But hopefully the smaller shops will be able to take advantage of that.
So Pele, what about the free shipping? How does that help you at all? Does that not make it overall greater than 50?
Well, I already get free pretty much, because of the order sizes. But it's not free, but it's more like, I get the discount. I get a discount that's proportional to make it equivalent free. But that's for I think for shops that are, not like, not $1 million or more shops a year, it's going to be a really great advantage for them. It's going to be a really great program for them. So,
are those terms not better than what Diamond offers now?
It depends on. It depends. Some people get
just for
really
Marvel?
good. Some people get really, really good terms from Diamond. That crazy terms. So it just depends. Some people get net 90. For Diamond. It really depends. So I can't speak to that. I've never gotten terms like that. But apparently there's people that are really good friends, that do well. So, it's a situation where I think for the vast majority of their customers, it's going to be a good plan. It's going to be a good deal for them. And
do you think it's better that the terms are equal across the board, whether you're a small shop or you're one of the big shops that's got multiple locations?
I think that the bigger shops aren't going to go with that. They're going to go other routes. But I think for the medium small shops, it's going to be the way to go.
Yeah,
especially
you don't have to compete with the big shops then.
Yeah, you don't have to compete. You're making the same, and it's a level playing field, so to speak. But on the other side of the coin there, I don't know how long that they can actually do that, if it's going to be what they're going to do going forward, or if it's a promotional, if it's an intro type deal for 6 months or something like that. I'm not sure. So
it'll be interesting to see what kind of terms Diamond will be able to offer as a wholesaler, as they're obviously not going to be getting the same deal that they were getting directly from Marvel. Since they're going to be going through Penguin Random House, obviously they're going to be getting a better deal than most people.
Yeah, but I think that what I was hearing was like Walmart, when they get their DC Comics and stuff like that, when Walmart buys, let's say the book's $4.99, they're paying about $1. For a $5.
So they're paying 20% cover price.
Yeah. So if it really depends if Diamond's paying 20 cents, a book. I mean, $2 for a $5 book, 20%. Will they be able to turn around and sell it them 40? Would that be enough to entice the big dogs? And I think it would be, because they're not going to really be looking at net terms as being an advantage as much for them. They're going to be looking at just raw dollar amount. So, but I do think though that for most shops, it's going to be a good thing for them. The vast majority. What do you think?
So, Pele, well, I was going to ask you, do you think with this trade credit policy that they're trying to basically grow the distribution footprint by basically making it easier for new retailers to come into the market?
Yeah. I think that's that's essentially, they're trying to romance the people into, because how there's nobody more stubborn in the entire business world than comic shop owners. We're just stubborn. We're antiquated people. We don't like using new things. We don't like looking. I mean, I'm not like that, because I like, I don't care. I'm going to go with whoever gives me the best value, and I'm going to go with with whoever gives me the best service. But there's some people out there that if they had their way, they'd still have their order sheets, and they'd fax them over.
Because you anticipate. Yeah, go ahead, Don.
I was going to say they'd probably still be using a goddamn adding machine and a little lockbox.
What? Are you talking about an abacus?
They'd have an abacus, and stone tablets, like the Flintstones, and they're tapping their order in. But I'm serious about the order sheets and the fax machine. I had the comic shop that I went to forever. He lamented the day that they went to electronic ordering. He was mad. He was like, I just like to write down my numbers. Why can't I write down my fucking numbers and fax it over there to them? This is bullshit, and stuff. And I'm like, well, maybe it's just, maybe it's better for them with their inventory system, since they're, they're going to the all digital warehouse. Fuck them. He's 60. He was 66 years old. I think at the time. And he's like, he does the way he does, and he bought comics the way he did ever since the late 60s. So, that's the way he did, and. And
I actually agree with him. I sort of agree with him in spirit. I kind of take the shooter approach when I'm writing. It's like, I actually like writing on a legal pad. It adds an extra step to the whole process in terms of efficiency. There's plenty of things that technology does well, but in terms of, if you have a specific way of wanting to work, technology typically is not like so customizable that you can get it right the way that that works best for you. But you did anticipate my other concern, because my only concern is that it seems like Penguin, they really are taking a long-term strategic approach to this. So when I sort of bit about the information technology, I was just like, my question to you was going to be, do you think that Penguin is going to have either the patience and or the awareness of who they're pitching this to?
Yeah, I don't know, because there's a lot of bookstores maybe that are perhaps that bad, but they're gone now. Those bookstores. There's very few of those old bookstores left, and they've either had to get with the times or get the hell out. Comic shops are a little bit different. In that there's people in comic shops that are, that are dinosaurs, and they just don't like change, and so. Yeah, you're gonna have to sweeten it up to get them get on board and get them to, to sign up with you. But I think that if they make it, they make it attractive enough, they will. And so it's just all depends. I'm looking forward to phone calls from certain people that I know saying, "Can you come over? Hey Jay, can you come over and help me? I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. This looks really good, but I don't know how to do it. Can you come help me?" So I'll probably have to spend an afternoon going and upgrading his his 486 or whatever he's using to place his orders now. Or go to Walmart and help him get a laptop so he can actually place his orders. But it's just, it is what it is, and. I love the way that they did the old orders. You know, they'd fax you all the sheets. These are all the comics that we're getting, short description, stuff like that. It's black and white, but who cares, you know? And you just, you know, you write down your number in the little blank, what you want to get of each book, like that. You fax it back, you know, and it was that simple. And you know, and you paid COD when the comics arrived. And this is going to be a big difference because you know they're going to have all of your financial information.
Yep.
And these guys don't like that. They like to show up with UPS there. They've got their check. You know, they went to the bank that morning and they got their certified check for the exact dollar penny amount to give to the UPS driver. And they get their boxes of comics and go and sort them out. And this is going to be a very different world. So
let me ask you this, Pele, because I'll be really impressed with Marvel and Penguin are doing with this strategy if I hear two things, which is what are their plans to develop a digital distribution channel, and what are their plans to develop an actual mass market channel, which is not so much that, we're going to put more comic books into more bookstores, but we're going to put a product that actually appeals to a mass market, which means a lower price point and maybe more consistent character brand marketing, if you will.
Okay.
Like a single Batman title.
Two things there. They're going to need a complete digital portal. They're going to need a complete digital retailer portal that's going to have everything there with all the utilities in one place, with ordering, with, you know, FOC, all this stuff's going to have to be right there into it, you know, right there as you're doing, you know, in one place. You don't have to go anywhere else. You don't have to do anything else. It's all right there. That's one thing they're going to have to do. The other thing they're going to have to do is, they're going to have to, you know, they're going to have to get those people on board. And
because I'm looking for them to actually craft a product that has a mass market appeal. Because I'm okay now with this because I'm okay now with this idea that now you're basically going to have like three distinct markets for comics, which is digital, which is the future, especially now with this NFT stuff coming into it, where now you have the scarcity piece attached to it. Now digital makes more sense to me than it did before. And then with the mass market piece, just needing a product that basically is priced in a way that either I as a parent or my kid with their own money feels comfortable spending enough money to sample the product. Because the direct market at this point, and I've been okay with this almost from the beginning of it, and I thought that's where they were going with it, was that's the whale market. See, that's the market that when the kid that you started out with in the mass market basically gets a job and has their own disposable income, will go and pay X amount of money for a direct market edition or a premium edition or the 1,000-page omnibus or whatever it is. So now you have this opportunity to actually set up life stages for your customer throughout their consumer life. So the problem with that with the direct market was that it became the only place to get a comic, and the numbers right now don't add up to basically grow the market going forward. They're
going to have an inexpensive product. One, they're going to have an inexpensive product, which is the digests. You know, they've already got plans on that for the digest format. Hopefully, they get those in the spinner racks, get those in places that don't normally have comics, and really push that product forward and get people on the hook, and get them into like Doc keeps saying over and over, and get them in the habit of coming, you know, on a regular basis to buy this product, and it's at a attractive price point. Then you've got the next step up, which is the digital, which is the direct market, selling comics, selling graphic novels through direct shops, through bookstores. The next step up, then you've got the NFT market, you've got the digital market that's going to be, you know, you're going to be able to buy digital comics with non-fungible, you know, that are a non-fungible token, limited to 500 copies, and each one of them is going to cost $20, you know, and you're going to, you know, something like that, and you're going to, okay, I've got an NFT of ASM number 100, you know, like I'm talking about the new series, you know, I was like, I've got that in NFT, it's only one of 500, you know, and that's going to be a hot collectible, and NFTs aren't going anywhere. So that's going to be something that they can tap into and do well as long as they come at it from the right angle, and as long as they don't price themselves out of that market off the bat.
Yep. All right.
I do have to say thank you very much to contributor Doc, and he's got a great point. Smash that like button, make it hurt if you got the chance. Really appreciate everyone joining us here today, having a fantastic conversation. And definitely, if you don't have time to listen to all of this here on the YouTube, this will be available on the podcast tomorrow. We basically run up the simulcast tomorrow. We got lots of other shows on the podcast as well. Are we done talking about the details of the Marvel Penguin and Random House stuff?
Yeah, I think so. I think I beat that to death. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to some of the DC movie news. Tom King and Ava DuVernay's New Gods, which I believe they announced a couple of years ago, is halted production. It's no longer going to be a film. I guess it's put on the back burner if it's not altogether canceled. It seems like probably the right thing to do. It doesn't really feel like it was going to fit into the new DCEU plans. So, Chris, what do you think about this? Are you surprised that it's canceled? Are you excited? What are your thoughts on the New Gods film being canceled?
I was never excited about the New Gods film. I was interested in the Trench film, though, to be honest with you, because I actually enjoyed Aquaman, and the Trench, those creatures, that scene in Aquaman with them diving off the boat, man, that was awesome imagery. What they did with that to me, I had fun with Aquaman, so I was interested in them announcing that James Wan was going to do the Trench. That was much more interesting to me than the New Gods. Nobody wants a New Gods film. Right? There's not a single person. Nobody asked for that. They especially didn't ask for Tom King and Ava DuVernay to be on it if it was going to happen. As far as I'm concerned, there may be that special person that really wanted it from them, but I mean, no. DC has no idea what they want to do with this universe. They have no idea what they want to do with any of this stuff. They keep throwing crap against the wall and screwing it up worse than before. With every new thing they put out in regards to this, they screw it up. They screw it up. They should have taken a trailer load of cash and given it to Christopher Nolan or somebody like that to be the Kevin Feige of that, and just usher it and steer it and direct it and make it cohesive and make it watchable and just been done with it, and they would have reaped the rewards of that and had a talented creator, producer, and director usher that and do that. But they didn't. They screwed the pooch on that, man. They messed up so bad. It's so frustrating and irritating, and they don't have no idea. We got the stupid New Gods. Nobody asked for New Gods. I'm back on point, back on topic. So no, I never was excited for New Gods. Never cared for it. Like I said, I was more excited for the Trench, and now we're not going to get that apparently, and I think that's a loss.
How awesome would it have been to have something like the Trench, like the Abyss, with oh my God, with they could have had an incredible crossover, not a crossover, but like instead of superhero movie, had like this superhero / horror, thing going on. It could have just been absolutely incredible, but
yeah, it could have been a prelude or a link some way into maybe a Justice League Dark somehow, or introduced any of the magical characters that they have in that regards. It's just, I think it's a missed opportunity, and you really had with James Wan. I think he's just a really talented director and creator that would have done well with that.
So I do need to come in here. We got a couple of super chats to catch up on. I want to say thank you very much to Max Santiago. Wes, we need to have a show where you talk to publishers and create a town hall meeting conversation. You're level-headed enough to moderate everyone. Actually, that's a pretty good idea. I would certainly wouldn't mind having a publisher like a round table. We've done it certainly with artists, certainly done it with retailers, haven't done it with publishers. But I think that's probably something I can reach out and see if we can get some publishers together. Not sure that they're going to want to come onto my show, but I can certainly extend the invitation. That's a good idea, and thank you very much for the compliment and supporting the channel, Max. Who else? We had another one. Okay, this one is from Darth Bobcat. Do you think Diamond had full warning about the switch to Penguin? They shut down one distribution hub a few months back. Well, yeah, it was like it was associated with the olive branch, but it was like a warehouse that was like extra housing. So they certainly do have forewarning because this doesn't take effect until October. So rather than the DC news, which I don't think they had any warning about with Lunar and UCS coming on board, this case they're having like upwards of 6 months to get prepared to become a wholesaler of Marvel Comics rather than the exclusive distributor. So,
well, I think it might have been saying like in terms of if they knew before we did.
Oh, that's why they shut it down.
Yeah, when they broke. I
feel like with DC Comics.
Yeah, I feel like Jeppy probably knew that announcement was coming, but not by much more than what we knew. Like he probably didn't have that much of a lead time on the information.
Yeah, I think it may be like a month.
Maybe because when you read like the response and stuff like that, it was just like, this is not the response of someone who had a lot of time to really sit down, think, vet it, work it out kind of thing. It's like, yeah, probably not a ton
lawyers
of time.
Craft it out.
And it wasn't a response from a guy that had a clear vision of where his future of his business goes without this business.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, comeback better than their setback. I mean, come on, this guy doesn't really have the most incredible ideas to begin with.
That's right.
That one did not work out.
Well,
so
it did not work out. Well, I mean, we do have to keep in mind that one of the reasons why, Diamond was so hated in the industry to begin with is because they had literally no innovation for 25 years. And when they had the entire damn market corner.
There you go.
Well, they were not incentivized to.
Right. Yeah, they weren't.
Yeah. No, they weren't incentivized, and when it came time to actually do something, they weren't prepared to do anything either.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But
once again, people in comics being terrible at business. Shocking.
But yeah, we were talking about
Want to say thank you very much to Darth Bobcat. We do have another super chat. I wish Fatal J was here so I could tell him he's right. Warner Brothers is a house divided. One camp is pro Snyder. The other wants to go in another direction. There is no one clamoring for a New Gods movie. I don't think Warner Brothers is divided. I'm pretty sure that Warner Brothers as a whole is looking to move on from the Snyder Cut, but the fandom is certainly divided. There's half the fandom wants the Snyder Cut and the Snyderverse to be restored, and the other half kind of wants to move on in a new direction. What do you think about that, Joe?
I liked. I think it was Perch's video review of the movie with his friend Ryan. That idea of maybe doing animated sequels or animated movies in the Snyderverse. That might be a way to kind of do the best of both worlds. You continue it without actually investing the hundreds of millions of dollars into doing it, and also because everyone's getting older. You probably can't get Ben Affleck to keep coming back as Batman, but you might be able to get him to voice Batman a few more times in a movie. So, with that, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, and about the New Gods movie and all that, which we were just talking about. I think this kind of news is part of why it's news is because Kevin Feige has been so successful. All of us on this panel and a lot of people in the chat, I think if you're old enough, remember that most superhero movies got announced and never happened. We're all still waiting for our James Cameron Spider-Man movie.
We're still waiting for pretty much half of the things. We're still waiting for
Superman.
Half of the things that Avi Arad promised like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but so the New Gods, if this was pre Kevin Feige at Marvel, this wouldn't be news. This would be, that announcement would have come and everyone would have been like, of course that movie's not going to happen. But now we live in a world where Kevin Feige has been so successful at getting a movie announced and a movie on the screen. Like, it's unprecedented. Look at Star Wars. Star Wars can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Feige changed the game. Feige changed the game with Guardians of the Galaxy. Because that's when I thought Marvel was done. I was like, are these guys insane? I love that run and that version of those characters, but the fact that he was able to turn that into a multimedia franchise is amazing.
Yep. But absolutely, he completely changed the game.
And the reason why is because he didn't make the mistake everyone else in Hollywood has over the past 4 decades, which is being scared of going full comic book.
Yep. There you go. That's right, Doc. Yep.
No,
and the thing is, I guarantee the Ava DuVernay, Tom King. I mean, first of all, Ava DuVernay, all the bloom is off that rose. Nobody in Hollywood gives a shit about her anymore. After they tried to keep her propped up after the failure. She did A Wrinkle in Time, right?
Yeah.
After that failure, the Hollywood tried to keep her propped up for a while, and that's when she got the gig here. And then DC and Warner Brothers tried to keep Tom King propped up by releasing, even after they cut his Batman run short, and they said, "Oh well, no, it's just going to get finished in this Catwoman and Batman." But nobody gives a shit about that book either. Tom King's essentially a nobody at DC anymore. He's and I think it wouldn't shock me if somebody at Warner Brothers, or actually not even Warner Brothers, at AT&T bothered to pick up Mr. Miracle and said, "Wait, what the fuck is this? Why is Darkseid sitting around eating a cheese plate and carrots? We're not making anything with this guy's name on it, handling these characters. It's done."
Yeah, I mean the fact that Orion wasn't mentioned in any of it.
Yeah, they probably only look at Tom King's sales. I don't imagine they actually look at his comic books. And if you look at his sales across the line, even though he did his Batman sales depressed quite a lot, his sales on everything else are actually quite good in comparison to what you would expect. It's one of the weird anomalies.
Yeah, but I think the problem with the new guys thing, because I hadn't really heard about it, and then just seeing the responses, the fact that a lot of times in Hollywood you're talking about is what's the treatment, and the fact that Orion doesn't come up in any of their discussion about the new guys was a big red flag of where they were going with it. Because what it was that there was that Female Furies miniseries. That's where they were going to basically, that was the perspective they were going to tell that movie from. And even though I like that Female Fury series and I appreciate that particular perspective, that is not new guys. That is not the lens by which you want to tell that new God story. There is a case to be made for Orion and Mr. Miracle to serve as co-leads or the co-protagonists of that story, but to go to the point where it's Miracle and Big Barter, it's like, you guys are just showing your hand too early, and this was just a mercy killing, and we're all happy for it. So that's what that was.
Anyone else have anything to say about New Gods? We got more movie news to get to.
Let's move on.
Let's do it. Let's move on. We've got information that the Batman, which we knew was not part of the DCEU, for reasons like, what if this is the most popular Batman that they've ever made? It's not going to be associated with any of their upcoming DC projects, and you're not going to see this version of Batman associated with them. It's because it's set in Earth 2. So, Gervain, I find this infuriating. DC has not got their Earth 1 correct, but now they're making their most popular character, what is likely to be their highest grossing film out of all these, set in another universe. How does this make sense?
It doesn't. And I'm a huge Earth 2 fan, going back to the pre-crisis days when Earth 2 meant something. And it's like, unless the greater arc of this is much like that Earth 2 Batman, who even when what happened to him ultimately when he got killed actually made me feel sad inside. I'm like, this is just, who cares? This is just unnecessarily complicating things. Just call it a reboot or a soft reboot and leave it at that. Why does it actually have to be on a separate Earth and that has to be designated? I don't get that part. It's like, especially with the strategy that DC's even taking with the comics. If nothing counts, then nothing counts. Who cares what Earth it's on? It's just like, oh, they started a new Batman series? Okay, I'll go out and watch that. So I don't know what, to the earlier comment, they have DC, whoever it is in Warner Brothers, they either have no, I'll say, you're right, the fandom is like divided on this. Warner Brothers, I would have said they know what they were doing until I heard this. And this kind of goes counter to what was just said. So I don't know what they're doing over at Warner Brothers with this. Much like I don't know where 4 Hour Snyder Cut came from, but even though I enjoyed it, they just don't know what they're doing when it comes to movies. TV, they're fine, however you feel about it. Animated movies, they're great, but when it comes to like motion pictures, they just need to stop. And that's it. Yeah, they need to stop.
Are they fine with TV though? I mean, Batwoman's essentially.
No, I mean it went off the rails. I mean it was okay up until a certain point, and then it went off the rails. I mean, I'll give you that. It was like around. Yeah. Black Lightning came and went, and there was a reason for that. You know, Batwoman was just like, I don't know what happened with that. Supergirl started off strong and then just went off. So like it was basically like Flash, you know, Arrow, Flash, Legends of DCU. Then after that, they should have just stopped. But the simple fact of the matter is, in terms of the motion picture thing, they haven't gotten this right from the beginning. Because first of all, it all started with Superman Returns because nobody asked for that. You were talking about nobody clamoring for something. Nobody asked for Superman Returns. And I'm a huge Superman fan. I didn't even want that. And just because you figured out how to do the technology to make Superman fly doesn't mean you have to give me a pissant Superman film. But ever since then, the DCEU is just them trying to make up for Superman Returns. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. That's all it is. And there hasn't been anything since then.
It's meandering nonsense because nobody knows what the hell to do. I mean,
exactly.
Are they planning on giving us the JSA?
I wish they would.
They already have
and All-Star Squadron.
They already gave you JSA.
I mean, I'm talking about with Batman, with with this. Are they going to, incorporate that?
I think
I buy into it at that point.
I think whatever the future of the DCEU is going to be determined by what The Rock does on Black Adam. If that ever gets actually made.
We don't need The Rock directing the DCEU, though.
Yeah.
Are you kidding? He's the most electrifying man in sports and entertainment today. You take that back, Chris.
Oh, hush that garbage up. Nobody wants to hear that garbage.
He's charismatic. He doesn't have any. He doesn't have anything.
Turn by Chris. He just turned on the entire thinking critical universe.
Let me tell you what The Rock's cooking. Nothing. No, man. It's back to my point earlier, man. Back to my point earlier. They don't know what they're doing. That's the general newbie, just the regular Joe is going to see this Robert Pattinson Batman and be like, okay, what happened to Ben Affleck? Or it's like, they don't, why do this? This is so stupid. This is so stupid. I don't get it at all. They need they need a universe showrunner. They need somebody to step in and slap some hands and tell people no and get a vision on board, an idea on board, and do their best to actually mimic what the MCU has done, but in their own way.
I mean, we're at what, like 10, 11, or like 20 some MCU movies before they're finally even dipping their toe into multiverses. Like to get the audience up to speed. To so that you don't entirely lose them with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Sure. It's taken them what, like 24 movies to get there.
Right, and WandaVision So the thing is that
Falcon and
MCU
and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, because MCU is doing building blocks, and all DCEU has been, it's always just been very reactionary. I'm not talking about the sensibility of the films, because I know people who are fans of the film those films because they like the more grim and gritty aspect of it. But in terms of the universe building, in terms of the storytelling, in terms of bringing an audience in so they kind of can understand and follow along, the DCEU has been a horrible effort. It has been a terrible effort. I thought they realized just keep them like kind of one shots. Shazam, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. If it works, let's do another one. But like this attempt to keep trying to tie things together when you don't even understand what the skeleton is yet, what the spine of this is, it's just getting confusing. So with this Batman thing, it feels like Amazing Spider-Man, that one with the second guy, the one after Tobey Maguire. It's like, are you just trying to keep the trademark going or something? I mean, why are you doing this? It's like we haven't even gotten the taste of Ben Affleck Batman out of our mouth yet. Grandpappy Batman, as I call him. And you guys are coming up with this little. It's getting to be embarrassing.
Very embarrassing.
I liked him better than most others, though. I did like Batman.
I'll give you that. I did like the Affleck Batman, and I like the nod for the Dark Knight thing in the Snyder epic. But it's just like at a certain point, I can't miss him if he doesn't go away. See, I can't clamor for this is the Doc's point all the way in the beginning. I can't miss you if you won't leave.
Yes, exactly.
Well, they had the perfect thing to set up with Darkseid. They should have set up. They should have set up a build up to Darkseid, similar to what was done in the freaking MCU to Thanos. And it's just like back to your point. It's so reactionary.
Yeah. And I see the way that they could have done this. I see the way they could have done this. He could have been built up for episode, for movie after movie after movie, until finally they realized, the only way we could defeat Darkseid is if we get all of ourselves from all these universes and we team up together. And then they could have built the multiverse in, and then they could have brought all these elements together, and they could have just, and had Darkseid as the ultimate adversary. No, they didn't do that. No, they're idiots.
But even with the Justice League, after I watched the Snyder Cut again, and I said they even had a good framework to get the heroes together with the idea that nobody was going to make a move on Earth as long as Superman was around. I actually thought that idea was pretty cool. Like nobody was going to make a move on it until he was there. So when he gets killed, it's like everybody's like, okay, it's on now. And it's like that was a great impetus. They just rushed it. It got so rushed that it didn't take me until watching this 4-hour thing that I realized, oh, that's what that was about. It just got lost. It got lost. So it's too much.
This also potentially opens up the door. Like there aren't a lot of Justice League level threats you can build up to, especially outside Darkseid. One potential threat this could be leading up to is the crime syndicate. If you start introducing these different Earths, Earth 2 and all that, maybe we get a build up to a crime syndicate. Because it's like, how many other threats are audiences going to look at directly and be like, oh, okay, it's the evil Justice League. I understand. That's okay. I'll watch.
Easy to swallow. Yep.
Yeah. So that actually could be, if they're ditching Darkseid, other than like Necron and a few other villains, there's not a lot of obvious choices, and I think Crime Syndicate would be.
I know we're getting him in Suicide Squad, but come on, Starro can do it.
Perpetua,
fair, yes.
But no,
so
seriously.
I do need to interject myself here, Doc. I'm sorry. I will give you your chance. I need to say thank you very much to Brian with the Y. Wes, Comics Aficionados is great, but you can make it even better. Well, that's what I want to do. I want to make this show even better every time I can. Post small clips of parts of this episode throughout the week. I know I'd love it. So I'm definitely going to post the part about the Marvel Penguin Random House, details that we have in some of the information. But the panel tends to veer off topic so often that it would be hard for me to label what the clip would be about, because it could very well be 5 things in a 20-minute time period.
Well, the John Romita one will.
Do little 5-minute clips just for 5 minutes.
Wait a minute, so you're saying we're the problem, Wes?
He has not seen. Wes has not watched Friday Night Tights.
No. Instead of posting them here, cut them out. Do 2-minute little sections, because I guarantee we can stay on topic for 2 minutes. Post a 2-minute section to Twitter or something like that to withdraw people to rewatch the whole thing.
Well, and it's
do it
also
like
on the podcast,
Tim
and it's
Cast
got
IRL does.
timestamps
Yeah.
on that one. Yeah. So, but thank you very much for the suggestion. And I'm definitely going to cut a couple parts of this out. I'd already been playing on that one, so thank you very much on that one for that, Brian. We also have Kenneth Dowling. DC are now reflecting the comics. As we've said before, DC is everything and nothing matters at all at once at all. Is that how it feels like to you, Joe? Like, what's?
Yeah, I mean, unless they're going with that idea of this is leading up to the crime syndicate, then it does feel like everything matters, but nothing matters. Like, see this movie because it ties into something. Maybe it ties into maybe this movie. Like, yeah. You
have family members that likely like Batman that don't read comics, right?
Sure. I mean, I think we all have.
Are they going to know going in? They're like, this isn't the Batman that's in the same world as Aquaman and Shazam that I'm watching. This is an entirely new universe. They're going to be like, where's the other characters, right?
Well, as long as the movie's good, I think people will like it will look past some of this stuff, and at least with characters like Batman, people are kind of used to there being a lot of different Batmans. If you recast like Aquaman every other movie, it's going to take a while for people to be like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like, same thing with Wonder Woman, some of these other characters. I think Batman and Superman, people will get because they're used to seeing them across multiple platforms.
Mm-hmm. I think the idea of multiple Earths, the customers are not going to understand it, and it probably just.
Also, if they would have done the multiple, if they would have led up to the multiple universe idea that Joe's talking about, not only could we have gotten the crime syndicate, but that would have been an excellent platform by which to launch other things that the general public seems to be happy or clamoring for, like having a Black Superman or any of those other type of characters with Michael B. Jordan and all that other stuff. That would have been it could have been a launching pad for a ton of that type of stuff if they wanted to do that. So it's yeah.
Well, we are getting Flashpoint, and we are getting a movie that it sounds like we might get that Superman. It's that Superman or another one. It might be Val-Zod. It might be another one. So there are some hints that they really might be exploring this multiverse thing. So we'll see.
But how much have they already poisoned the well? That's the problem. Because it's reached the point now where there's so many different factors now that have poisoned the well. I mean, you've got DC TV over at CW that's now completely jumped the woke shark, and people are diving off in like record numbers.
Except for Superman and Lois.
Except for them, and then they put them on hiatus, and then substitute in Supergirl. Oh my God, who thought of that idea? And Batwoman's got like 400,000 viewers now. It's embarrassing. That's absolutely embarrassing for a DC show.
I would kill for 400,000 viewers.
Well, yes, I mean, you're a YouTube show.
You're not paying $10 million a season for episodes either.
You're a YouTube show filmed in your living room with a bunch of us assholes guest starring on it from our own living rooms. Come on.
I'm doing all right. I'll admit it.
So it's I'm just wondering about that. They've really damaged themselves, and I'm hoping I'm curious of what's going to happen then, considering how much they've damaged themselves.
No, because you're right. Like somebody said in the comments that normies will get. It's not that normies can't pick this up if you do it. This is more a credibility and a confidence issue now. This is not a question of whether people can follow along. It's just we don't trust you to do this right.
Now, Marvel, into doing multiverses, they've established a degree of trust with the audience. Mm-hmm. The audience believes in the product. They believe that they'll do it correctly. They believe that they'll do it sensibly. And they believe that there's a reason why it's going to that. Like, that's going to lead to something else. Whereas
that's right.
The general public looking at DC doing it goes, oh, you guys have no idea what the fuck you're doing, and you're just throwing random shit out there, aren't you?
And they have and Marvel has A-list actors that people have confidence in. They've got Cumberdink Bandersnatch, and they've got Robert Downey Jr. and they've got these people that are just
Joe Pfeiffer,
these are
Michael Douglas,
amazing
But I don't have a
actors,
problem. I don't have a problem with the actors in the DCU. I like the casting for the
but they're
most
not
part. for what they have.
consistent. But they're not consistent with those actors, and they just kind of jump around with who's going to be, who's going to be this, who's going to be that. Gal Gadot,
They're not consistent until now. Whenever you have Robert Pattinson as Batman in Earth 2,
that's all.
that's
who you've got.
That's.
But you're recasting one of your main characters, not really explaining, especially when, remember though, the Batman was supposed to be the Affleck movie that he was going to write, direct, and star in. And then he wasn't directing it anymore, and Matt Reeves got brought in. Then he wasn't writing it anymore. Now he wasn't even in it. So people are like, wait, this is... And now it's set in an entirely different universe. This is... This is just... You watch the progression of how much that project has changed, and anybody that's been waiting for it goes, oh, they're just half-assing.
All right, Doc, we need you to sit
trying
down.
to figure it out.
I got some super chats to read. But I like the spunk. How's that? Full of piss and vinegar today.
The heat.
So we've got
The cut of your
image
jib.
hashtag Comics and
This is
Victus.
not porn.
Thinking critical, except for the final showdown, My Hero Academia. Only season 1 is hard to watch, but damn if it pays off. Great character moments in later seasons. Imagine Avengers Academy, but done right. There you go. It is on my list. I do have Netflix now because of the kids, and it's on my list of things to watch, but I haven't got to it. So maybe I'll put that at the front of the line. It sounds like the viewers want me to catch up on My Hero Academia. So thank you very much for supporting the channel, and I will definitely do that. We've also got a $10 super chat from Dark Admiral March Hare. Just wanted to pop in and wish everyone a happy Easter. Happy Easter to you too, my good friend. DC Universe has all the IP to build an awesome DCU. It's a shame they can't get out of their own way. I'd love a Justice League Dark film. Well, I have great news for you. You are getting a Justice League Dark TV series from Bad Robot and J.J. Abrams.
Okay.
Is anybody excited about that?
We'll see.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Because remember, I mean, if they're doing a Justice League Dark, you're going to end up with John Constantine. On TV, John Constantine still spent the last few years running around. First, he had his own show, and then when that got canceled, he went on to that DC Legends, and he's been on Legends for the last few years.
And I love that actor.
Guillermo del Toro was supposed to do Justice League Dark.
Yeah, this is
back in the day, yes, he was.
Yeah,
I love that actor.
Yep, now it's J.J. Abrams. Obviously, the original Constantine was Keanu Reeves. Bring him back.
And he's coming back to do another Constantine movie because he has the rights for it. He's on the contract for movies having to do with Constantine. So you're going to lose that continuity between the show and the movie.
Yeah, you're going to end up with 3 different Constantines all at once. One on the Bad Robot show, one on Legends, if Legends
Earth
is still
1,
around.
Earth 2, and Earth 19.
All right.
Yes, but
Don't forget Earth 711.
You guys are you have
Where all the DC
You have
heroes
no-
basically work at convenience.
Earth Circle
Convention
K.
about being Batman's sidekick.
Earth Circle K, where John Constantine is actually in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah.
Basically.
So
And I love
another
Keanu to
super
death.
chat
But
from Dark Admiral March here. I wish Marvel would follow DC's lead and torpedo the Eternals movie. It's going to be an awful mess. It's fine. I've checked out of the MCU going forward. So they've already paid for it. They've already produced it. You know, why would they scrap it at this point? Unless they wanted to maybe expand it out to a 4-hour movie and put it on Disney Plus like the Snyder Cut.
No.
Yeah, the only real miss MCU had was that Inhumans TV show. That was just like, what were they thinking?
That was awful.
I think some people might be feeling that maybe the Eternals is going to turn out like that, but as a movie. But that's the only reason why you would have to doubt the Eternals, because the Inhumans TV show was bad.
Well,
Yeah, I never watched it.
and it wouldn't surprise me if that ends up. Eternals is the one that I mean, whenever I saw them doing Guardians, I'm like, you know what? this is doable. They can do it as long as they go full comic book. This one, it doesn't matter what you do with the Eternals. Nobody gives a fuck about the Eternals. These characters they're not interesting. They've never been interesting. You can't make them interesting in a different medium.
I love it. Doc believes everything is black and white.
I think that they're bringing the Eternals movie in just so they can get Kit Harington into the MCU.
Yes.
That's an expensive thing. It probably cost them $200 million.
But I don't know. I can't see any other reason why, because I know that he's going to be something going forward.
They thought they could do anything at that point.
Kit Harington?
I think it's...
Now, you may be right. I just spent my money on something else, though.
Yeah, but they could have added Black into literally anything else.
All right, well, let's say thank you very much to Kenneth Dowling for supporting the channel. I wanted to share this with the panel. DC Animation is adapting Batman to Long Halloween for a 2-part movie. DCA, for the most part, has made good stuff. I'm very excited about this, and so am I. Joe, I love The Long Halloween. You love The Long Halloween. I'm hoping they do the sequel as well.
Yeah, no, it'd be cool. I hope they maintain some of Tim Sale's sensibilities in the art when they do it. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. So that should be very exciting.
Similar. Yeah, as long as they do it as faithfully as they did the Dark Knight Returns 2-part animated, I think they're fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they've already cast the dude from, I don't know, what was that show where they're the Winchester brothers?
Yeah. Supernatural?
Yeah, Supernatural.
They cast a Supernatural guy as Batman, right?
Yeah, it's a Kripke. Yeah.
There you go. Nobody knows who the Supernatural guys are. Okay, thank you very much to Kenneth Allen. We are excited for Batman and Long Halloween. Maybe we'll have some casting notes to come up. So we do have to get to this last topic. Supposedly we had 2 left, but we're not going to be able to make it through it all. We are well past our time here. But we do have delays coming from Marvel. Predator has been delayed to November. Venom 200 has been delayed to June. X-Men is taking a 8-week hiatus between X-Men 19 and 20, and Black Panther 25, the final issue of Ta-Nehisi Coates on the series, has been delayed almost a full year now. I don't know. What do you think about this one, Pele? Are any of these important delays? Why aren't they doing all these delays? How's that?
I have no idea. This is beyond mind-boggling. I don't understand why Venom 200 is going to be delayed like that, especially on the heels of King in Black. They should be just pounding that out just as fast as they can at the end of that, so they can get the money from that final issue. And I don't get it. I really don't get that.
I do. I think I know the reason.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Because they know that once they hit Penguin Random House, they can't do this shit anymore. They need to bank up as much ahead. Like, I'm not kidding.
I think they're also getting their ducks in a row.
They're getting all of their ducks in the row for like the next 2, like at least year of product, so that at least throughout the first year, they can't get screwed. Or get penalized or get hurt or whatever the term in the contract are. They're getting their stuff in the row, and if that means delays now, then do it, because we can't afford to be screwed up a year from now, or after October.
Because this could, especially on Venom 200, it could cost them like half of their run on this, since it's going to be that cold. It could cost them half their print run on Venom 200.
And getting a delay on a book, a big book through Penguin Random House, might cost them the whole contract. I don't know.
I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand how Penguin Random House would affect their production schedule in this regard. Diamond never affected.
They're not allowed.
Marvel's.
They schedule a comic. You have to deliver the comic. Like Penguin Random House doesn't do delays.
Yeah,
there's no difference about that.
Marvel could dick around with Diamond and be late, and Diamond couldn't do a damn thing about it. Penguin Random can.
Yeah, there'll be a very small fish in an enormous pond, but they are known to be sticklers for the rules. What do you think it is, Joe? I do think the Predator thing has been delayed to coincide with Penguin Random House. They've also delayed the omnibus as well as a bunch of variant covers and things like that.
Yeah, no, that all makes sense. With Predator, and I mean, like everyone was saying, it all makes sense to coincide with, going through Penguin Random House. Also with X-Men. I mean, I don't know. With that, they gotta figure stuff out because they've been doing these sort of staggered delays, and I'm not like, there are so many reasons that could be happening. I think COVID messed a lot of it up in terms of, we kind of saw the X office, wasn't putting stuff out. Then they were putting stuff out all at once, and now it seems like they're trying to restore a balance and be like, oh, we can't just have like a week of no X books and a week where 4 X books comes out, so we're gonna have to stagger stuff. And it seems like they're in this flux, and they now have that hard deadline of, all right, you gotta stagger and get this making some kind of sense by the time Penguin is doing this. I don't know then too if X-Men 20 has to be delayed because it has to tie into the Hellfire Gala, like doing all these tie-ins and staggering these releases and everything, it's making a huge mess out of this line. Yeah,
they got an incompetent editor that can't keep all of his ducks in the row to make the event. They figure out what the event's going to be, and then figure out how to get everything there at the same time. And then when it doesn't work, they end up doing delays here and double shipping here because the storylines aren't matching up.
Yeah.
I don't know. As an editor yourself, Joe, do you think that's what Jordan White does? Does he schedule out the publication and in production of all the comics rather than, do you think this is ultimately his responsibility, or is it the publisher?
This is a weird situation because of Hickman's involvement. So, I mean, the publisher is the one who is probably coming down and being like, oh, hey, we see you guys. We know like COVID and everything, but we need like X books every week, and we need it to stagger in a certain way. And I think Jordan White is in the unenviable position of, oh, well, I asked Hickman and now I have to wait. And hopefully he comes back at some point, which is definitely something that's been, affecting things.
So instead of having just one figurehead and having co-figureheads is likely causing some confusion.
Yeah, I think you're dealing with that because at the end of the day, there's no way Hickman's deal is the same as most other people's there. He has a lot of sway, and he needs to sign off and okay certain things. And if he doesn't, or if it takes him weeks to respond, that affects things.
So we do have another super chat from Dark Admiral March here. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. The Eternals animated motion comic was pretty decent. It has potential, but we won't get that. Did anyone see the Eternals animated motion comic?
Mm-mm. I didn't.
No.
Nope. Just shows you how much nobody gives a shit about the Eternals.
Oh, come on, Dark Admiral March cares. We love that guy. He's been with us since the beginning.
I love the guy too, but I'm just saying that nobody else cares about that particular product. And they're
Doc is just walking around with his pants down, looking for a spot to take a crap every time.
Absolutely. He's like, I see somebody's Wheaties. What can I do?
Look, the Eternals are completely fetch, and it's never going to happen. There's your Mean Girls reference.
Well, I tried to read the Kieran Gillen, Assad Rivage Eternals.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make it through a full issue, so maybe you're right, Doc.
It doesn't sell.
It doesn't make sense.
It gets ordered. It rots on comic store shelves.
It's like, if I wanted to go to sleep right now, this would be the perfect book. But it's 4 in the afternoon. Damn it.
There you go.
So thank you very much to Dark Admiral March here for that. Does anyone else have anything to say about the delays at Marvel Comics, whether it be Predator, Venom, X-Men, or Black Panther 25? Which the Black Panther thing seems odd because obviously it's not moving forward. They're not getting that one back on schedule.
No, but I think the important thing here is that their comeback will be better than their setback.
Oh man. Does Jeffy owe you money?
He's beating him like somebody that owns him money.
Hey,
Dave
Steve.
Chappelle.
Hey, Steve. You're looking all kind of fancy for somebody that owes Joe some money.
Look, he doesn't technically owe me money, but there's a lot of indie creators out there that when we get our statements from the publishers, there's an awful lot of damaged product that we don't get a piece of. So he doesn't technically owe me money, but he kind of owes me money. So...
Oh my goodness. Maybe they can put a special stamp on the covers. This was a special Marvel's delaying everything era comic book. Something like that. We get a t-shirt for it too.
It's the on sale maybe some Wednesday down the line variants.
All right, so we were going to talk about Damian Wayne, Robin's new arch nemesis. We just don't have the time. So we will go straight to the comic book recommendations.
I will make one comment on Damian Wayne's new nemesis. I think Todd McFarlane go sue somebody.
Yep.
His name is Respawn.
Yep.
To spawn again.
Yes, he's Respawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you see Todd's reaction to that, by the way?
No, I didn't, but
He said, when you can tell that DC has gone to the well once too often.
Well, Todd also has stories about how they ruined his line work when he did Batman Year 2, so... Yeah,
no love lost.
All right, Pele, what are you recommending down at the comic shop this week?
Okay, all right, let's... there was a really great book that came out this week, and I think a lot of people probably bought it. Now, the artwork is not fantastic here. This is kind of like what they call a challenge project for a creator, and they had him write the book and draw the book, and Beta Ray Bill #1. Go buy it. Okay, the art is challenging. All right, it's not great, but the story is fan-freaking-tastic, and I can see where this is going. This is going to be a really great heroic story arc coming up, where he's going to be looking for something to get his mojo back. He's going to it's the whole thing of the whole Stormbreaker being destroyed and all that kind of stuff, and it's gonna be culminating in this series, and hopefully we'll get the old real Beta Ray Bill back. So buy it. It's really good. It's going to be great.
There you go. And I want to say thank you very much to Kenneth Allen for supporting the channel. I'm off treating my family to see Kong versus Godzilla. Good on you, sir. I hope you enjoyed. You guys are the best. Have a great weekend. No, Kenneth, you're the best. You have a great weekend. And I hope you have a wonderful Easter Sunday. Yeah. We've also got Lane Kramer with the $2 super chat. So the animated Invincible, and have you liked it? Me personally, I have not seen it. Doc, tell us what you think about Invincible.
I absolutely love it, and it's just so much fun so far. Go watch. It's really, really good. It's really fun. It's about as close as I ever expected them to stick with the comics.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, Lane Kramer. I hope you enjoyed that brief review of Invincible from Doc. Doc, what are you recommending as far as comic books?
X-Men Legends #2, X-Men 19, and Invincible back issues, or just pick up the compendiums. They're selling like crazy right now because of the success of the show. And Doug Ernst's Soul Finder Black Tide. It's an amazingly put together book. It's already done. not crowdfunded. It's already a finished product. You can order it. I think I got mine in like 4 days. And it's
so you order it. It's in the mail the next day, huh, Doc?
Hell, I ordered it and it was already being mailed out the same day.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful system that you got there. And good. Congratulations to Doug, obviously, friend of the channel. Had him on here and he talked about it. He's very excited about that. And he deserves all the success in the world. All right, Chris, you recommended any comic books this week?
If you do get Doug's book, go to iconiccomics.com to get that from there. My recommendations, I've still been, the Maestro series, that was number 3 Warren Packs that came out this week.
Absolutely.
I like that.
Yes.
I thought the Beta Ray Bill number 1 was good, and I think that he is going to get his mojo back, if not for anything, but then just to get laid by Lady Sif. So
damn right.
There we go. There's no other reason.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's the only reason you need is to get your mojo back. So hopefully he'll get his mojo.
I know it, man. Poor fella.
All right. Gervain, you recommended any comics this week?
Hey, wait a second real quick.
Sorry.
Chris.
Have you guys been checking out Stray Dogs from Image?
Nah.
I haven't yet. Is that a Tony Fleeks working on
It
that?
is.
Or? Okay, yeah.
It
No,
is.
I like Tony Fleeks a lot, yeah.
Okay, so check that out too when you get a chance. 2 issues in, and it's been interesting. I'm on board. So sorry about that, Gervain. I apologize.
Oh no, there's no problem. No, because I'm piggybacking with Chris off of Maestro Warren Packs 3. I actually had to tweet Peter David about that one. That's how you justify a $3.99 purchase. That he if you have not read it, you need to go pick it up right now. It's like, even though you would say that the ending, you would think you would see that coming, the way Peter David sets that issue up it's really a delight to read. The other two that this is a mixed bag. So Beta Ray Bill, I was interested, but I'm protesting the $4.99 cover price. So I am locked in for the rest of the series at the $3.99 cover prices, but I'm protesting not buying it because of the $4.99. And the other one I would recommend, which is Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness, especially if you're a Power Rangers fan. But that $7.99 cover price, man, is hard to swallow. So I think there's good stuff coming out, but these cover prices, unless you have some nice disposable income or you don't want to be seen as a contributor to the problem, it's just getting difficult. But definitely Maestro Warren Packs 3. That was a delight. Yep.
So I emailed Drew for an update on the Pigeon, and he said, let's just say that he had sweet and sour squab last week. I don't know what that means. But that is Pigeon update from Drew, and so thank you very much. I don't know that he's watching us right now, but he took the time out to reply to me during the show, so that was nice on him.
Excellent.
All right, you got your update. I finally listened to you.
He ate him.
Joe, do you have any recommendations as far as comics?
Sure. What was it? Destiny New York #1 came out from Black Mass Studios last week. My buddy Pat Shand writes that one. He's crowdfunded that book through his own publishing line, Space Between Entertainment. So if you check it out and you like it and you can't wait for more, you can go to Comixology, or you could order copies through Pat, through Space Between Entertainment to check that out. It's not out yet. Next week, this Wednesday, is Nottingham #2. I really like the first issue from Man Cave. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. And also on Wednesday, the Magic the Gathering #1, the first of the Hasbroverse books to be done through Boom Studios, comes out Wednesday. This could be a game changer. Is this going to be the start of many Hasbro books moving to Boom? We'll see. So that's going to be interesting.
Thank you very much. So people may have been waiting for our retrospective on the Kree Skrull War, Joe. What happened? Did we record it?
We did.
We did record it. I got sick, and I have not been able to finish it. So it will finally be out tomorrow, but we do have our next comic story in line for a retrospective. We're going to be talking about Batman 232 and then 242 through 244, the introduction of Ra's al Ghul. So if you want to read that and be ready for a retrospective with Joe, Eric Breen, and myself, you can do that. Also, I would definitely recommend Blade Runner Origins #2. That was excellent. And also Man's World from AWA has been a really good series. I'm catching up on that one, and I think you will enjoy that one as well. I want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining us. We had a great conversation. And if you supported the channel, an extra special thank you for supporting us on this wonderful Easter weekend. I wish you and your families all a wonderful holiday. And we will see you right here next week.
And Washoe